What if I told you that Hamilton has introduced a watch that is a faithful reproduction of a military classic and combined it with retro cool 1970s style? That watch would be the Hamilton Khaki Pilot Pioneer Mechanical, reference number H764-19531. Now, before I get going on this review, I do want to mention this watch was loaned to me by Mimo at mimosjewelry.com in Long Beach, California. He does have a retail storefront in Long Beach if you are local to the area. You can also check him out at mimosjewelry.com. If you like Hamilton watches and you want to order one from his website, use the code MIKE25 and you'll receive a 25% off discount on any in-stock Hamilton watch. You can do this for a limited time. I will include the details down in the comments. As to Hamilton, they have a long history of making quality watches for the U.S. and other militaries. They are a quality Swiss-made brand now, and they have done a great job revitalizing the brand by offering wonderful and contemporary timepieces that are reproductions of some of their most famous models, including my favorite, the Hamilton Field Khaki 38mm. You frequently see on my wrist and featured on my Instagram page. And this new one here, you can see just for size comparison between the 38 and the 36. Their latest offering right here is a faithful reproduction of a watch they made for the British Ministry of Defense from 1973 to 1976. The watch was known as the W10. Hamilton checked all of the boxes with this reissue. It's a very faithful reproduction of that classic, from the tonneau or helmet-shaped case, to the grainy black dial, to those long sword hands, to that box-shaped mineral crystal. Let's take a look. First off, the dimensions. We have a 36mm diameter case, that's from the 9 to the 3, 41.7mm lug to lug, 12.8mm thick, and 18mm lug width, which I really like. The movement on this watch is also one of my favorite things. It is Hamilton's H50 hand-wound and hackable 17 jewel movement. It is based on the ETA 2801-2. Hamilton modified the movement, allowing the power reserve to be cranked up to 80 hours by slowing the frequency of the balance from 4 Hz to 3 Hz, or 28,800 vibrations per hour to 21,600 vibrations per hour. The lower beat rate is a nice touch in that it gives the watch a robust authenticity. Most watches at this time definitely did not beat at 28.8. They were more 21.6 and slower. So I think that was a really nice touch by Hamilton. The dial on this watch is a grained black, non-reflective, featuring a railroad minute track all the way around. Superluminova throughout. It features rectangular lume plots at the 12, 3, 6, and 9, and of course that triangle at 12 o'clock. The rest of the lume plots are circles within that railroad minute track. Features nickel-plated long sword-style hands and those wonderful Arabic numerals at every position, excluding, of course, the 12 o'clock. The dial is very legible and easy to read. It also features just a little bit of signing with the Hamilton at the 12, mechanical at 6, and of course Swiss-made on either side of the 6 o'clock. The case on this watch is also something that's very cool. Stainless steel, as we already mentioned, helmet-shaped with a wonderful brushed finishing throughout. Features these really cool chunky lugs that are just squared off at the end. It does not have a bezel, which I think is interesting too. It's a monoblock style case, so the crystal comes in through the back of the watch. And you can see that signed push-pull crown. It does have a little bit of polish at the end of that crown. The case is attached via 4 screws, so it's not a screw-down style crown. It does offer 100-meter water resistance, however. So you should be okay with this watch if it gets wet or even light swimming, that type of thing. There's a look at the case back, the Hamilton Swiss-made water resistant, and also a good look at how they recessed the case to give that crown some protection. One of my favorite things about the watch is the crown, actually operating the crown. in a couple of ways. First off, it has this wonderful hand wind to it. I hope the microphone is picking that up. And then second, setting the time on the watch is really a pleasure, and that it's just very precise feel to it, very accurate. You can just really just set it and there's just no movement at all, which I really appreciate. The crystal on this, as I mentioned, it is a hardened mineral crystal. That is the only, or one of the few places where it differentiates from the original. The original featured a plexiglass crystal. You still do get that wonderful distortion that you'd have on a plexi crystal, and you can see that nice slight doming to the crystal, that big step. I really like the crystal on this watch. Strap is a plain brown NATO style with a very simply signed Hamilton pin buckle. Just matching stitching for the most part, and rectangular pinholes. There's no signing at the tip. And then underneath is more of a beige color. Hamilton sign does have a reference number there and also denotes the size at 18 millimeters. I have to say, I've been wearing this watch for about a week now, and I really love the watch. Hand winding it is a pleasure. It operates beautifully, and most of all, it retains the original dimensions at 36 millimeters, which I really appreciate. The details of the original are all wonderfully reproduced, and it's easy to read. It runs about 5 seconds fast a day, and I really like the great vintage look and charm. It's a pleasure to wear on my 170 millimeter wrist. I'll give you guys a look at it on the wrist. First off, let's pop off my Field Khaki 38. Sure, we'll give you guys a look at the two next to each other too, just so if any of you have a 38 millimeter Field Khaki and you're wondering how much smaller it is, you can see they're actually fairly close in size. The big difference being the lug-to-lug length. The Khaki here, the Pioneer Mechanical, is much shorter lug-to-lug than the Field Khaki. On the wrist, just go off camera here for a second to pop this on. It's quite nice on the wrist. You can see right there. I really like that nice low profile, and just overall vintage look. Very easy to read dial as well. Very comfortable to wear on the wrist. This watch I didn't mention too, this watch retails for approximately $840 US. In conclusion, things I like about the watch: the vintage charm, the accurate to the period size, the no frills military look, very easy to read. I really like the hand wind movement. I really like winding it actually. And of course the 80-hour power reserve. What's not to like there? Only a few dislikes to discuss really. First is the faux patina. I really wish that the watch companies would stop with the faux patina. Personally, I'd just prefer something clean throughout that allows, if they could figure out a way for it to age gracefully and then kind of turn it color as the watch get older, I would really appreciate that. And then the other thing is just a nitpick, something I'm not even sure that they could include, but it'd be really cool if they could have, would be the T in the circle and the up arrow that was found on all of the British Ministry of Defense watches. I think that would have been a really cool touch, and I wish that they had included that. In conclusion, I think this watch is a really strong buy. Suggested retail $840 US. You're getting a ton of watch for the money. You're getting a great movement that's going to be easily serviced, very durable, and offer good accuracy. Currently, this one's running at about plus 5 seconds per day. And just really cool vintage styling. I think this is a watch that's a really nice addition to your collection. And if you already have a Hamilton Field Khaki 38, it's going to make just a really nice complement to that watch. Anyways, that is it for this episode today, folks. Everybody, thank you for stopping by and for checking us out. If you do like the content, you've not already, please hit subscribe, and also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you know when I finally come out with a new episode. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back soon.